Hello, Kansas State and Chris Kleiman. We're going to do a preseason preview for 2024 of the Kansas State Wildcats. So, in my preseason preview for the Kansas State Wildcats of 2024, we're going to talk about the schedule, Will Howard, Chris Kleiman, this defense. We're going to talk about what is going to happen if Avery Johnson gets hurt. What does the production come from, or what does this wide receiver room look like? And how good will they really be in 2024? How good will guys like Phillip Brooks be? So, let's get to it. Look, you've got good talent. I know Avery Johnson's your quarterback. He ran off Will Howard, so he's got to be a talented kid. He's a game manager from what I can see. And does he have the throwing ability and the tenacity that Howard did? Because he was the one that helped you win some of those late games. He almost won the Missouri game. Of course, you lost 27-30. He was the one that helped you win against Central Florida at Tech, against Kansas when it got close there, and of course NC State. It just depends on what happens now with Avery Johnson. Of course, this offensive line, as far as the 247 composite goes, is the most talented offensive line in the Big 12. So lots of talent there, not a ton of experience. So it will be very interesting offensively. Defensively, Chris Kleiman's a turnover guy. They were fifth in turnover margin last year, which is huge. They only allowed 21 points per game last season. So that is huge. A good defense game. Something to point out, this Arizona game, it's a non-conference game. So just a little reminder there. It is not counting for a conference game. Now let's break down the schedule here. I know you're losing Will Howard and replacing him with Avery Johnson, and that's going to be the toughest transition because he's replacing a guy that threw for 2,643 yards last season. If he does that, has 24 touchdowns as well, this team's going to be great. It's all about keeping him healthy, though. So, UT Martin win. Tulane, inexperienced team against a very experienced Kansas State team. I know that Kansas State lost a couple years ago. Last year they beat Troy 42-13, and I think they take this game very seriously and find a way to get it done. Look, Arizona is a non-conference game in Kansas State. Chris Kleiman's been very good in the non-con in some big situations. He's lost a couple, but I think he gets the win here. And then at BYU, look, BYU is a very tough place to play. But Avery Johnson's an amazing red zone quarterback. I think that Kansas State gets the win. I think that you get the win against BYU and then against Kansas State as well. Because I think Kleiman finds a way to shut down Ollie Gordon, and playing in Kansas State, those fans really show out. Then you get a homecoming game, get an off week, and you get to play Colorado coming off an off week. Give me Kansas State to win that game. West Virginia is just a tough place to play. Anytime you got to go to Morgantown, Kansas State's one of those teams that could go in there and get the win. Of course, with Chris Kleiman's defense, and defense travels really well. But if Avery Johnson struggles, if the weather's messing around, there's a lot of things that could go wrong when you go there. Something tells me that West Virginia is going to win. Something tells me that Lance Leipold's going to outcoach Kansas. It's also your homecoming game, so having a rivalry in a homecoming game makes it a very tough atmosphere, but Leipold's got all of his chips in the center for this game. So give me the Jayhawks to win Sunshine this year, and then at Houston, bounce back game. Give me Kansas State to bounce back against Houston, Arizona State, and then Cincinnati really good stretch. And then at Iowa State is your last game of the season. I know it's not shown up here for some reason, but I have them losing that game to go 9-3 and 6-3 in conference play. I'm Josh George. This was a Kansas State